Beloved child, I see the question you have carried in silence. Is there something in me that has not yet been fully used? You sense possibility, yet you are weary from examining every feeling, every delay, every stirring of desire, wondering whether it means anything at all. You have asked for confirmation because you do not want to be deceived. I do not condemn that caution, but you cannot live forever, waiting for a moment dramatic enough to remove every uncertainty. You may not need another sign that you are gifted. You may need courage to practice what has already been placed within your reach. This is not a promise that every ambition is a calling. It is not proof that you were made for applause, influence, or a place above others. Your worth was settled by grace before anyone recognized your ability. Feeling that you were made for more does not exempt you from small beginnings, unseen labor, correction, or the humility of being taught. Scripture does not tell you to build an identity upon a vague sense of specialness. It tells you to test what you receive, to think soberly, to serve with the grace given, and to be faithful with what has been entrusted. So, do not silence genuine possibility, but do not crown it too quickly. Bring desire into the light. Let motive be examined. Let practice reveal capacity. Let service show whether others are truly helped. Let wise believers name both grace and blind spots. What is sound will not be diminished by patience, truth, training, or accountability. Beloved child, clarity may come quietly, not through a miracle countdown, not through endless emotional confirmation, but through faithful steps repeated before God. You will learn to define the gift by Scripture, test it honestly, train it diligently, offer it in love, receive correction, and continue without needing to prove yourself. The first evidence of readiness may be this: you stop demanding certainty before obedience and begin accepting stewardship. And that brings you to a better question, not, am I special? But, what is a gift? Why is it given? And whom is it meant to serve? Beloved child, Scripture gives you a steady definition before your emotions give you a final name. 1 Peter 4:10 teaches that each one should use what has been received to serve others, faithfully administering the varied grace of God. Notice the movement: received, then used; grace, then service; trust, then responsibility. A gift begins not with your importance, but with my generosity, and it finds its direction in the good of another. A trophy points back to the person holding it. It says, look what this person has achieved. But a trust points beyond the steward. It asks, what has been placed in your care, and how will you use it faithfully? Trophy logic turns capacity into evidence of rank. Trust logic turns capacity into an obligation of love. One invites comparison, the other invites obedience. You do not need a gift to make you worthy of being loved. You do not become more precious when your work becomes visible, and you do not become less precious when your contribution remains unnoticed. Your identity in me comes before usefulness, recognition, accomplishment, or influence. If you confuse your gift with your worth, every mistake will feel like rejection, every correction like humiliation, and every delay like a verdict against you. But when you know you are already loved, you can learn without panic. You can be tested without collapsing. You can discover that you were mistaken about one capacity without believing your life has lost its meaning. Perhaps you still cannot name what you carry. That is all right. A recurring desire may prove to be a spiritual gift, a developed skill, a vocational capacity, or simply a sincere interest that deserves honest exploration. You do not have to force a sacred label upon it today. Let its nature become clearer through truth, practice, service, and correction. Think of light. Its purpose is not to turn the lamp into an object of admiration. It is given so that someone can find the way, complete the work, recognize what is near, or avoid what would cause harm. In the same way, entrusted grace bends outward. So hold possibility with open hands. Do not wear it as a badge. Receive it as a responsibility. For once you understand that a gift is a trust, the next question becomes unavoidable. Among all the graces I give, whom is yours meant to help, and what shared good is it meant to serve? Beloved child, the people your grace is meant to help are not an audience arranged around your importance. They are members of a people I am forming, each receiving and each needing what another can faithfully give. Romans 12 joins sober judgment with differing gifts, then gives a simple command: use what grace has given you. Do not exaggerate your place, but do not neglect it either. Humility does not deny capacity. It releases capacity from the need to appear impressive. 1 Corinthians 12 teaches that gifts differ, forms of service differ, and workings differ, yet their source is one. The manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. Not identical but united, not competing but contributing. Diversity is not disorder when every contribution moves toward shared flourishing. So do not build a spiritual hierarchy around what can be seen or heard most easily. Public speaking is not automatically holier than mercy offered quietly. Administration that brings order, generosity without display, craftsmanship performed with care, hospitality that makes room, or steady help that carries another person's burden. Visibility may reveal a gift, but it does not determine its value. I measure faithfulness differently from the crowd. Comparison will cloud your discernment. Envy can make you dismiss the quiet strength already present in you because it does not resemble another person's influence. Ambition can persuade you to imitate a visible role because you admire the identity attached to it. Then you begin practicing someone else's assignment while overlooking the need you are actually equipped to meet. Remember the body. No member contains the whole life of the body, and no true gift makes its bearer complete without others. You are neither unnecessary nor self-sufficient. You belong. You contribute. You also receive. This protects you from inferiority and from self-importance. My child, ask a gentler and more honest question, not, which gift would make me appear exceptional? Ask, what contribution can I faithfully make to a good larger than myself? Can you welcome the form of service that helps most, even if it does not create the identity you once imagined? That willingness brings clarity nearer, yet desire can still carry mixed motives. The purpose is now clear. Next, the heart itself must be examined. Beloved child, do not be ashamed when you discover that your desire is not perfectly pure. Genuine love may live beside insecurity. Compassion may mingle with ambition. A sincere longing to serve may carry a quieter longing to be noticed. This does not make discernment hopeless. It makes honesty necessary. I am not asking you to pretend that ego is absent. I am inviting you to let love become stronger than the need to establish your importance. You do not need to accept every inner impression as my instruction. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 calls you to test everything and hold fast to what is good. Romans 12:3 calls you to sober judgment. Faith is not credulity. Spiritual maturity does not fear careful examination. So let the desire pass through more than one test. First, ask whether it agrees with Scripture, not merely whether a verse can be attached to it. Second, watch the motive. Is it increasingly shaped by love, willing to benefit others, even when recognition is absent? Third, invite confirmation from trustworthy believers who know your character, not only your aspirations. Fourth, look for observable benefit. Are people actually strengthened, helped, guided, or cared for through what you offer? Fifth, notice whether the capacity endures through practice, correction, inconvenience, and time. No single answer settles the matter. Excitement can disappear when novelty fades. Applause can reward what is impressive without revealing what is faithful. Early ability may be real yet immature. Resistance may arise because fear is holding you back, or because the role does not fit you well. Even visible fruit must be examined with humility. Popularity, money, intensity, and isolated success are not automatic signs of my endorsement. My child, honest testing is not my rejection of you. It is freedom from fastening your identity to a claim that has not yet been proven. It protects you from carrying a role that belongs elsewhere, and it protects others from receiving confidence without competence, zeal without wisdom, or influence without accountability. What comes from me does not need to hide from truth, humility, community, or patient testing. Hold your proposed gift provisionally. Do not deny it, and do not announce it as final. Let Scripture steady it. Let love refine it. Let community question it. Let service reveal its effect. Let correction show whether it can mature. Then begin looking for what recurs. Not one thrilling moment, but a pattern. Not a forced label, but evidence that returns through faithful use. Beloved child, begin with what returns. Which need continues to awaken compassion in you after the emotion of the moment has passed? Where do you repeatedly feel a sober responsibility to help, understand, organize, restore, or strengthen? Do not begin by choosing the title you most desire. Begin by noticing where your attention becomes constructive, where concern moves you toward faithful action. Then watch what practice develops. What work becomes clearer, wiser, or more useful as you repeat it. Perhaps you help others understand what once confused them. Perhaps you remain present with suffering instead of turning away. Perhaps you arrange scattered responsibilities into workable order, create welcome where people felt excluded, shape materials with patient care, share resources freely, or speak courage into someone who is losing heart. None of these possibilities is more sacred because it is public, and none becomes a calling merely because it interests you. Interest may open the door to exploration. Only faithful testing can show what should continue. Look also at the people affected. Whom has this work actually helped? Can they describe what became stronger, clearer, safer, more beautiful, or more whole because you served? Do they name the benefit without being coached toward praise? A plausible gift does not merely make you feel significant. Over time, it contributes something others can honestly recognize. And listen to mature people who know more than your best moments. Do several trustworthy voices independently notice a similar capacity? Can they name both its usefulness and its present limits? Confirmation that refuses to mention needed growth is incomplete. Correction that acknowledges no grace is incomplete as well. Receive those who can see promise without flattering you and weakness without shaming you. My child, notice what happens when the work becomes ordinary. Are you still willing when no one applauds? When preparation takes longer than expected? When another person receives the visible credit? Or when service interrupts your convenience? Endurance does not mean you never tire. It means you remain teachable enough to adjust and willing enough to return. From these recurring traces, you may identify one or two possibilities worth testing. Say, this may be a capacity I have been given to steward. That is enough for now. You do not need to make it permanent. Hold the conclusion gently, because practice may strengthen it, refine it, redirect it, or reveal that another form of service fits more truly. Clarity often receives its name after it has already begun serving. So choose one provisional capacity, not as a verdict upon your identity, but as an honest question to carry into disciplined practice. There, through repetition and correction, the pattern can mature or be revised in peace. Beloved child, now take the capacity you have named provisionally and give it deliberate attention. Paul told Timothy not to neglect the gift entrusted to him, but to devote himself to sound teaching, practice these things, and persist so that his progress could be seen. Later, he urged him to rekindle that gift. Grace had given, Timothy still had to cultivate. The gift was not counterfeit because it required care. Its cultivation was part of his faithfulness. Do not be embarrassed by what you cannot yet do well. Needing instruction does not prove that you were mistaken. Being corrected does not mean I have withdrawn my hand. Sometimes inexperience reveals an empty claim, but sometimes it simply reveals undeveloped capacity. Patient training helps you discover the difference. So study the work you hope to offer, learn its foundations, repeat the essential skills until they become dependable. Invite correction from people who understand both the craft and the people it serves. Respect ethical boundaries, because ability without restraint can injure those it intends to help. Practice consistently enough for your weakness to become visible. What remains hidden cannot be addressed, but what is honestly seen can be strengthened. Entrusted life still requires fitting conditions. A seed carries possibility, yet it must enter soil, receive water, endure pruning, and remain through seasons before its fruit becomes reliable. Do not despise this slowness. Time is not always opposing the gift. Often time is teaching its stability. Repetition deepens what enthusiasm first began. Correction directs what sincerity alone cannot guide. Patience allows early promise to become trustworthy service. But do not worship the flame you are tending. Practice cannot save you, establish your worth, or guarantee the future you imagine. Do not let development become obsession. Do not neglect your present responsibilities while pursuing a possible calling. Do not look with contempt upon those whose abilities seem less visible. Capacity is still entrusted grace, not a throne from which to measure others. My child, let training be obedience, not self-salvation. Let discipline give grace capable hands. Let correction protect the people your work may touch. Much of this formation will happen where progress is quiet, private, and easy to overlook. Do not flee those places. Keep learning, keep listening, keep correcting, keep practicing with patience, keep offering the work back to me. Beloved child, I know the disappointment of preparing for more while being entrusted with what feels painfully small. One room, a few people, a minor responsibility, another repetition of beginner work. You imagined wider usefulness, yet your present assignment seems too ordinary to confirm anything. Do not be ashamed of that ache, but do not let embarrassment teach you to despise the place where you can still grow without exposing many people to what remains unfinished. The small room is not beneath the gift. It can be mercy. Here, gaps become visible before they become costly. Here, you can discover whether you listen carefully, prepare faithfully, keep your word, and respond gently when the work does not go as planned. Here, you learn whether you love the people before you or only the platform you imagine beyond them. Admiration can conceal weak motives. Obscurity brings them near enough to be named. Yet do not call every closed door a promise of future prominence. I have not asked you to turn disappointment into a prediction. A hidden season may prepare you. It may redirect you. It may be an ordinary circumstance requiring patience. It may reveal that your present approach needs revision. Humility does not pretend to know which explanation is true before there is evidence. Humility remains attentive. And when you make a mistake, do not declare yourself disqualified, but do not call every consequence persecution either. A mistake is information. Confess what was wrong. Repair what can be repaired. Listen to those affected. Change the practice that produced harm. Then return wiser, not defensive. The purpose of correction is not merely to preserve your confidence. It is to protect the person your confidence may touch. Roots deepen without applause. No audience rewards them for reaching farther into the dark, yet that unseen depth prepares the tree to remain steady when its branches become exposed. In the same way, quiet responsibility can form humility, skill, and reliability before visibility tests them. My child, choose one act of faithfulness that costs your pride but requires no dramatic certainty. Prepare carefully for the few. Repeat the basic task. Admit the error. Ask how you can help. Serve the need already within reach. You do not need visibility to make formation meaningful. You need honesty, love, and willingness to become safe for those you hope to serve. For the next question is not whether the room is large enough, but whether someone inside it is genuinely helped by what you give. Beloved child, now let what has been formed in quiet places move toward an actual person. 1 Peter 4:10 says that what you have received is to be used in serving others as a steward of varied grace. 1 Corinthians 12:7 says that the Spirit's manifestation is given for the common good. Entrusted grace moves outward. The good of others is not only where a gift is directed, it is also where your understanding of the gift is tested. Begin then, not with the title you hope to carry, but with the need you can responsibly meet. Encourage one person who has welcomed your words. Organize one task that has been entrusted to you. Prepare one lesson for those willing to learn. Help carry one burden you have been invited to share. You do not need to announce an identity before you offer a faithful contribution. But remember, sensing a capacity does not give you authority over another person. Love asks permission. Wisdom respects limits. Humility does not offer counsel beyond its understanding or attempt work beyond its training. It does not intrude, control, or make another person dependent upon the giver. A sincere desire to help cannot make an unsafe action safe. Serve with consent, appropriate competence, and clear boundaries. Then look honestly at what followed. What became easier, clearer, steadier, or more hopeful? What caused confusion? Where did strain appear? What did the recipient actually need? And where did your effort answer a need you only imagined? Ask what should be repeated, what requires training, and what must change before you serve in that way again. Do not force every result to confirm your first conclusion. Service may strengthen the possibility you have named. It may reshape it, showing that your contribution belongs in a different form. It may reveal that the original claim should be released. None of these outcomes has to shame you. When your identity is not attached to being right, even disconfirmation can become wisdom. My child, you are not called to become indispensable. You cannot meet every need, carry every burden, or be available without limit. Faithfulness honors human limits and leaves room for the gifts of others. Offer what you can responsibly give. Observe its effect. Remain free to revise, yet do not interpret the outcome alone, for your own hope and fear can distort what you see. Bring the experience to trustworthy people who can help you name both the fruit and the danger. Beloved child, bring what you have observed to people who can weigh it without needing your first conclusion to be true. In 1 Corinthians 12, no member appoints itself as the whole body. Each belongs to the others, giving and receiving. Ephesians 4:15-16 describes growth as the body speaks truth in love, and each part does its work. Community does not create what I have entrusted, but healthy community can reveal its usefulness, its limits, and the responsibilities that must accompany it. Choose counsel carefully. Trustworthy people show maturity in their own lives. They understand the kind of work you are testing, speak honestly, and care about those your service affects. They do not need to flatter you, possess your decisions, or control your future. They can recognize grace without exaggerating it and identify danger witut using shame. Ask them questions that permit more than praise. Where did this serve well? What am I not seeing? What needs further training? Where should I slow down? Would you trust me with this responsibility again? Then listen for patterns across repeated acts of service. One voice may confirm, another may expose a weakness. Several may help you see that the capacity is real, but belongs within narrower boundaries, further preparation, or a different form. Yet accountability is not domination. Spiritual language must never be used to demand secrecy, silence, conscience, excuse abuse, or prevent appropriate outside help. No leader, mentor, or community becomes trustworthy merely by claiming authority. Counsel must also be weighed by scripture, wisdom, relevant competence, and the fruit it produces. Disagreement is not automatically rebellion. At the same time, resisting every correction is a warning. If you only receive voices that affirm you, you are not being guided. You are protecting a preferred identity. As influence increases, oversight must become clearer. Greater reach can multiply harm as well as help. Work involving vulnerable people, money, authority, or dependence requires defined boundaries, transparent decisions, and people empowered to question you. Do not treat accountability as a punishment for failure. Receive it as protection for everyone involved, including you. My child, let the body help name what you carry. Let it recognize, correct, and bound your service. Carry at least one trustworthy relationship into your continued practice. Someone permitted to tell you the truth in love. For capacity may become visible through service, but only love-shaped character can carry increasing responsibility without being ruled by it. Beloved child, this love-shaped character is not decoration placed around capacity after the important work is done. It governs the work itself. 1 Corinthians 13 gives the decisive correction. Remarkable speech, spiritual insight, knowledge, faith, and sacrifice can still become noise and emptiness when love is absent. Ability may draw attention and open a door, but love determines whether your presence beyond that door brings service or injury. Look then, not only at what your gift accomplishes, but at the manner in which it moves among people. Galatians 5 names the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are not points on a performance chart by which you earn my approval. They are a living lens. They help reveal whether growing capacity is being joined to a life increasingly yielded to my Spirit. Visibility can amplify what obscurity once concealed. Comparison can sharpen. Secrecy can feel convenient. Entitlement can disguise itself as confidence. People-pleasing can make you betray truth to preserve approval. Overwork can appear devoted while slowly making you harsh. Defensiveness can resist anyone who questions you, and applause can become something you depend upon rather than something you can receive and release. Success does not silence these pressures. It often gives them a larger room. So ask more than, am I becoming effective? Ask, am I becoming patient with those who move slowly? Am I truthful when honesty costs me? Am I gentle when I hold influence? Can I govern my impulses, admit wrongdoing, and repair the harm I caused? Does this capacity make me more available to love, or merely more certain of my importance? The faithful use of a gift is measured both by its benefit and by the character through which that benefit is offered. My child, honor your limits. Being gifted does not make you limitless. Exhaustion is not automatic evidence of faithfulness, and constant availability is not the same as love. Rest, boundaries, shared responsibility, and the courage to say no can all protect what has been entrusted and the people it serves. When character is corrected, do not hear the cancellation of purpose. Receive the careful cutting away of what would corrupt future usefulness or wound someone now. Let truth make you safer. Let love govern your strength. Then, carry both your work and your manner of working into a simple rhythm of practice, observation, prayer, and correction. Beloved child, you do not need to turn a possibility into a permanent identity before you begin. Choose one capacity that has appeared through recurring service and name it provisionally. Write one sentence explaining why it may be present, whom it might help, and what real need it could responsibly meet. Hold that sentence gently. It is a question you will test, not a verdict you must defend. For 30 days, give that question a simple rhythm. Pray and listen before acting. Schedule a specific period of practice each week, so intention becomes obedience. Offer the capacity toward one bounded need that you have permission and sufficient preparation to serve. Afterward, record what happened. Then adjust what requires adjustment before you repeat the work, not endlessly, not everywhere. 1 month, one pattern, one honest act at a time. Where possible, receive 2 forms of feedback. Ask a mature or skilled guide to examine the quality, wisdom, and limits of what you offered. Ask someone affected by the service what actually helped, what confused them, and what they needed that you did not see. Do not collect only the words that confirm you. Welcome truth that makes the next offering more loving and more responsible. Record both fruit and cost. Note genuine benefit, recurring weakness, confusion, and needed repair. Notice whether your motives become freer or whether recognition begins to govern them. Watch for neglected duties, strained boundaries, or demands that cannot be sustained. Pay attention to the energy required not to worship ease, but to discern whether continued service can remain faithful without consuming responsibilities I have already placed in your care. At the end of the month, choose among 3 honest outcomes. You may continue and deepen the practice because useful fruit, teachability, and growing reliability are present. You may modify the original hypothesis and retrain because the grace appears real, but its form, scope, or preparation must change. Or you may release the claim because repeated evidence does not support it. Release is not personal failure. It is freedom to stop protecting an identity I never asked you to carry. My child, a small rule of faithful practice can reveal more than another month spent imagining, comparing, or waiting for certainty. Bring me the record, the correction, the benefit, and the cost. Let the process itself be surrendered. You are preparing not to prove the gift, but to offer both the capacity and its outcome back to me. Beloved child, you may still wish for certainty before you move. You may still ask whether one more sign would finally remove the risk of being wrong. But the question that began this journey can now be answered. You do not need endless confirmation before beginning one safe, humble, accountable act of practice. What you need today is not courage to declare yourself chosen for a role, but courage to serve while remaining willing to learn. The grace you receive is not a monument to your importance. It is an instrument of love. Test it with sober judgment. Train it with patience. Offer it where there is a real need and willing reception. Let trustworthy people weigh what you cannot see alone. Let character govern what capacity makes possible. This is how desire is purified without being silenced, how potential is cultivated without being worshipped, and how uncertainty becomes faithful stewardship. I have not promised that obedience will make you famous, enlarge your platform, produce quick clarity, create financial success, or persuade everyone to recognize what you carry. Faithfulness may remain quiet. Its form may change. Its usefulness may grow in a direction you did not predict. The outcome belongs with me. The next responsible act belongs within your reach. So begin gently. Name one capacity you believe may be entrusted to you without fastening it to your identity. Choose one specific time to practice it. Identify one person or one permitted need you can serve and love. Ask one trustworthy person to observe, question, and correct you. These are not steps for earning my affection. They are ways of responding because you are already loved. As Scripture teaches, Use what grace has given with sober judgment, and let every offering be governed by love. You are free to learn without shame, revise without humiliation, rest without guilt, and continue without demanding applause. If the evidence redirects you, follow truth peacefully. If it confirms the capacity, deepen it humbly. If the claim must be released, remain secure in me. Pray now, Father, I return to you the capacity, the uncertainty, and every result. Purify my motives, guide my practice, protect those I serve, and keep my heart teachable. Let what you have entrusted become love in action. I surrender the need to prove my importance. I receive the grace to be faithful today. Listen, practice, serve, welcome correction, rest when needed, keep walking.